If you've been browsing social media or keeping up with the news in India recently, you've probably come across the Kisan Morcha, otherwise known as the farmer movement or protest. So why are farmers across India, more specifically those in Punjab, protesting against the government? Why is there a huge number of women and elderly people protesting on the streets of India? Well, the reason is because the government have passed laws to privatize the farming industry across the whole of India. Not only that, but these laws affect farmers in Punjab even more so, due to the reasons that I will be discussing further in this video. So let us all witness how the biggest democracy in the world has dealt with these protests. Biggest democracy in the world, by the way. Something that the Indian government prides itself on. Just keep that in mind. We will be exploring 4 major points. Number 1, how important is farming to India? Number 2, why are the farmers protesting? Number 3, what has the government response been to the protests? And number 4, what has the government done to protect democracy? Let's get started. The importance of farming in India. Punjab has been commonly referred to as India's breadbasket, mainly because it contributes close to a quarter to India's total wheat production. This can be seen here in this article. Every article I link will be in the description below for you to check out if you want to. This moniker originates from an important period in Indian and Punjabi history. The Green Revolution of the 1960s introduced methods to increase agricultural yield and cultivation. Some of these methods were high-yielding variety seeds, improved irrigation, introduction of combine harvesters, fertilizers, and pesticides. The last decade has been crucial in displaying the importance of farming to the Indian economy. Farming has been a prevalent factor in aiding India's rise to economic powerhouse and superpower. Agriculture as a sector contributes to 18% of the total GDP of India, which is huge. This can be found here. In addition, it provides employment to over 60% of India's 1.3 billion population. That's roughly 780 million people. This can also be found here. Farming provides many with the ability to provide for themselves and their families. It is the lifeline many Indians rely upon. So why are farmers all across India protesting? Well, it's because of these new bills, which are seen as black laws for farmers, as we will see. Farmers have been protesting and marching towards Delhi, as per the Delhi Chalo movement, in order to seek reform of recent agricultural bills. After understanding how important farming is to India, both economically and socially as a means of sustenance, one begins to think and question, why have farmers all across India faced institutional backlash and hardship? Recent years have portrayed how volatile the agricultural market has become. These farmers, primarily from agricultural states like Punjab and Haryana, feel that they would be at the mercy of big corporations. In fact, they are so against the bills that they have duped them as black laws. And this can be seen here. So what are these 3 new bills? Well, they can be seen over here. Over 31 different farming unions have opposed these bills, labeling them as black laws. They feel that these new bills will enslave them, leaving them in relative poverty and destitute. And this can be seen over here. Pawan Khatana, the president of the BKU union, stated that the dissolution of the minimum support price, or MSP, is their primary concern. He demanded, "Our demand is that a law should be made that fixes the MSP, which covers 23 different farming commodities." And this can be found over here. So what is the MSP? Well, to understand that, we need to understand the current system, which includes the MSP, the minimum support price. The current system is known as the Mandi system. A Mandi is essentially a farmer's market. Commission agents, known as Artiya, work in these Mandis. They are intrinsically the middlemen between farmers delivering their crops and the state government who purchases these crops for nationwide distribution. Farmers can barter and negotiate directly with these agents. The agents not only purchase the crops, but they also provide transport and storage of the crops, which is huge because most farmers in India cannot afford transport or storage. Throughout these negotiations, farmers are assured that they can gain a profit on their crops due to the existence of the MSP, or minimum support price. The MSP is a guaranteed price for their produce from the government. For example, let's say the MSP is £5 for all of my crops, and let's also say an Artiya wants to buy my crops for £4. As a farmer, I can say no and just take the MSP instead, which is £5. So it is a guarantee for the farmers. Furthermore, we must understand the APMC in the current system. The APMC, or Agricultural Produce Marketing Committee, is a marketing board that safeguards farmers from exploitation by buyers. It aims to ensure that the farm to retail price does not reach excessively high levels. The farm to retail price is the difference between the farm price and the retail price of food. The greater the difference, the greater the profit. The APMC ensures difference which allows farmers to return home with enough money to feed and provide for their households and invest back into their farming. So it is very, very important. And now we look at an example of the free market failures in Bihar. As seen here, the farmers are just being absolutely rinsed of what they have. And this article states that Bihar had, since 2006, liberalized its agricultural marketing sector, but the experiment did not work as planned. And we'll see why. The repeal or removal of the APMC in the Bihar state of India displayed the dangers of removing the APMC. The National Council for Applied Economics Research concluded that the removal of the APMC could be a key ingredient to the low growth of agriculture in the state, and this can be found here, with farmers in Bihar now being at the mercy of traders who unscrupulously box a lower price for agricultural produce that they buy them for, and this is found here. So what they're basically saying is the buyers are buying for a much lower price and selling at a much higher price than what the APMC would have allowed them to do. But they don't care anymore because the APMC is gone, so the safety net of farmers are now gone, and these buyers are making a killing off of these farmers. The new system is corporate slavery. The key issue we witness with the new system of agriculture economics is the introduction of self-interested private corporations. These private enterprises will be able to purchase crops from farmers. However, unlike the mundis, there is an absence of transport and no storage facility for crops given to these farmers. Most farmers can't even afford to travel out of their district to sell crops. So how are they going to afford transport and their own storage? That the mundis provided before, but obviously they can't now because they're gone. Even the price which they will buy for will be significantly lower than what farmers receive from commission agents. And with nothing to protect farmers, if the bills are passed, they will be subject to unhindered corporate exploitation. There has been global outcry regarding the bills and the discrimination farmers will face, not only from politicians of Punjabi origin like Desi, Gill, Jagmeet Singh, Guratan Singh, and Sara Singh, but also from others like Jack Harris, John McDonnell, Kevin Yard, and Andrea Horwath. There is a universal consensus that the new bills will indeed encourage private enterprises to seek the greatest benefit for themselves at the expense of farmers, with many opposing the proposed privatization of public services. So in short, corporate slavery over the farmers. Corporate slavery has led to an increase in poverty and suicides. As we can see here, the total number of farmer suicides in Punjab is 16,606, and God knows how many more with the unreported suicides. 87% of these suicides have been attributed to indebtedness, meaning being in debt. 76% of suicides by farmers with land holdings less than 5 acres. Less than 5 acres. That's mad. And you can see the families and women who are affected by these new bills. So all of these suicides and deaths for what? For money. So this Indian government would rather make a quick buck than save and protect their farmers, which contributes to 18% of their GDP? Relative poverty and corporations have led to more suicides. The reason why private enterprises are such a threat to farmers is because of the relative poverty that plagues the agricultural sector. Though it plays such a key part, it has often been victim of institutional contempt, with the 2020 protests being an example of the outrage farmers believe they have experienced cumulatively over the years. The statistics of farmer poverty are shocking. Between 82% and 99% of agricultural labourers in Punjab are below the poverty line, and this is seen in this article below. That is absolutely insane. But it's not only the principle of the poorer getting poorer. Rather, analysis of trends in rural poverty in Punjab shows that there is a decline not only in the proportion of the poor, but also in their absolute numbers. This indicates the entire population of Punjab, a key agricultural state, faces complete destitution and poverty. Moreover, farmers in Punjab, for example, do not own or inherit vast amounts of farming land. It is known that 85% of India's farmers operate less than or just 5 acres of land. That's nothing. And with the recent droughts and diversion of water from Punjab by the state, farmers are unable to cultivate even these minimal amounts. Keep that in mind. The government is diverting water away from Punjab, and there have been droughts. You'll see why that's important soon. With crippling debts, insurmountable loans to stay afloat, and poverty, the only escape for many farmers is suicide. Since 2015, over 1,500 farmers have committed suicide, with numbers rising. And again, only God knows how many suicides have gone unreported. Recent times have especially become worse, with 3,300 farmers in Punjab having committed suicide in the years 2000 to 2019. And what does the government do to help these farmers? Absolutely nothing. Well, maybe not nothing. Let's see what the Modi government's response has been to the protests. And I'll tell you now, it's nothing good. The world's largest democracy believes in attacking its people and censoring freedom of speech. Now, if that's their definition of democracy, the people of India should be very scared. It's not only farmers here that are at risk. So what democratic methods have the Indian government used to deal with the protesters? Well, they've used lathis, or sticks, facing hordes of police officers armed with lathis, resisting tear gas, overcoming barricades and water cannons, and now facing army divisions equipped with automatic machine guns. What is motivating the farmers of India to persevere despite such odds? And this can be seen here. An elderly Indian man being beaten by police officers. For what? What's he done wrong? Not wanting to be a corporate slave and commit suicide in a couple of years? And despite protesters' deaths having already occurred, what triggered this large-scale revolutionary movement all across India, which was spearheaded by Sikh farmers of the Punjab state? Furthermore, they have been putting up barricades stopping the farmers from reaching Delhi. And this can be seen here. It's said that the police are closely monitoring the situation. Yeah, closely monitoring how many more elderly people and farmers need to be beat up. And bring in the tanks and airstrikes while you're at it, since it seems like you've brought out the whole Indian army. To take out who? These dangerous elderly people and farmers? Pathetic. The government have also opted into using water cannon attacks to deal with protesters, as you can see over here. So during a drought and whilst diverting water away from Punjab, the government thought it would be a great idea to attack protesters with water cannon. Yeah, very smart. They have also been using tear gas attacks, so hard metal canisters being thrown at protesters, which has caused injuries, as you can see here with this elderly man being cut in the face. And this can be further seen over here. Thousands of farmers marched to Indian capital defying tear gas. Not only that, but they have also been digging trenches to stop farmers travelling to Delhi, and this can be seen here. So the Modi government have opted to destroying their own streets and roads to stop protesters. The rhetoric propagated by right-wing nationalist media outlets has attempted to brandish the farmer movement as an extremist terrorist separation movement, implicitly referring to the previous Sikh separatist uprising in Punjab. However, this attempt has gained little traction, as seen over here. Sikh farmers continue to carry out langar, a form of selfless service. Amongst thousands of farmers fed, the army and police are not exempt and are encouraged to join and eat. This has been hailed by the nation entirely. And this can be seen over here, a literal example of biting the hand that feeds you. These farmers are being attacked by the army and police, yet they still have the selflessness to feed them. And guess what the army and police do after they've eaten? They go out and beat them again. Moreover, a farmer who was hit and wounded by a tear gas shell was the father of a Sikh soldier who was recently killed in the line of duty, serving under the Indian army. And this is the young gentleman over here. Throughout this video, we have answered these three very important questions in great detail. So now to conclude. Farming is an integral sector to the overall Indian economy and has played a massive part in its development today and contributes nearly 15% of India's $2.9 trillion economy. The agricultural industry employs a large number of the population and employs about half of the country's 1.3 billion people. Farmers feel that their livelihoods are at threat due to the proposed bills will perpetuate income inequality and poverty. The government has taken a heavy-handed response, arbitrarily, without proper reason. This approach, contrasted with the love and forgiveness shown by the protesting farmers, has led to them winning the hearts of the nation and amassing even more support and global recognition. Furthermore, the mainstream Indian news is hiding this from the people, whereas Punjabi news is reporting it a lot. The actions taken by the Indian government are disgusting. Something needs to change, and fast. Do the right thing, India. Repeal the laws.